Okay, now I'm back, and I decided why the second part of this video is processing. This is what I'm going to do. For this part of the video, y'all are more likely watching this on my beauty well, this will also be included on my personal channel in the whole 3 sections, but it's going to be weird for the people on my beauty channel just watching it right now. So if you want to know the backstory of what I'm about to say throughout the rest of this video, go to my personal channel to Diva One to listen to the full contents of it. But for people who are watching this now from the personal channel, let's get on back into what are my thoughts on Governor Cooper extending this bill. I think it's mighty crappy. I hate to be the Debbie Downer and coming with the hypothesis, because I can't even say the facts, because even the doctors are contradicting themselves by the day. Let me tell you why this is very problematic for me as somebody who works not only in the school system, but somebody who is a licensed esthetician. So the thing is, you're not you once again, why is it so hard to give us the courtesy of a week's notice? Because I told you, for people who were so anxious to have their clients already scheduled for the 26th, now they're making phone calls. I just told the 20 some people that was waiting for me, and I desperately need the money. I already told them in advance. I said it is, it's no need to even look towards the 26th. I already have a nasty feeling that they're going to extend the shit. That's why I applied for my unemployment, only to get denied. So yeah, Governor Cooper once again gave us a 2-day notice and extended it to May 8th. And watch, come May 6th, it's going to be extended again, because once again, we read the parameters of opening the stuff. So it's 3 phases. And for us beauticians to be get back fully open, we have to be in, I think, phase 3, which he can say can be as long as 3 weeks after phase 1. So if phase 1 is going to be implemented May 8th, 3 weeks will put us at towards the end of May. But then you say certain parameters, if there is trajectory of spikes in the COVID, then you're going to extend it even further. So now you're cutting into our summertime pay, which is the most profitable season for beauticians. But I thought y'all said everything was going to be done by going to be okay for the summertime. Summertime. Honey, look like a summer motherfucking life, you ask me. Because once again, nobody wants to just come on out with it and say that, hell, if you pay attention to what they done nationwide, if they already done canceled stuff for 2021, that means we ain't going to be done with this by 2021. So if we canceling stuff as big as the Super Bowl, the NBA, all the way into 2021, the Olympics and shit, talking about entertainers cannot be at concerts in stadiums until fall of 2021. Obviously, y'all ain't gonna have this shit under control by May 8th. And if you're going based off of federal guidelines and stuff, what does that mean for us? Because are you trying to low-key say that beauticians, we're going to permanently be out of a job, and you just keep stringing us along week by week? See, my fellow beauticians who are not thinking about the long term, they thinking about the micro, because they keep feeding us this shit in 2-week intervals. Oh, well, we're going to extend it for a month. Oh, we're going to give you another 2-week extension. But I'm already looking at what they're doing with other things and factoring in how is it going to do us. Because if you're saying that this can't be open because of this many people in the close proximity that these people work together, and beauticians, especially massage therapists and estheticians, we working close up on people, and you're deeming us non-essential, is that going to mean that we're going to be closed for the foreseeable future? And it's like, if that's going to be the case, how do you justify, like, how, we supposed to still keep our licenses and stuff up. We can't go to continuing education classes. We got to now go to the online education classes. We still got to pay our, renewal fees and all of that, because once you graduate, you still got to uphold your license. So what is it going to look like come October when all beauticians supposed to be darn on renewing their license in the state of North Carolina? That's what I'm trying to think of. And then furthermore, it's like we cutting into the biggest profit margin of the darn on year, the spring and the summer. And I ain't heard not one mention of darn on Pacific grants towards beauticians, and we're the ones being affected by this the most. I mean, if you think about it, we're the one, y'all specifically called us out talking about spas, barbershops, and LMTs. It's like, well, hell, shouldn't we have a special grant to our damn selves then? Because we darn on getting shit out the darn on. Y'all having multi-million-dollar companies like shaking, what was it called? Steak and shake and shit. I excuse my language, y'all. I'm a southerner. But my darn gone personality ain't anything sweet and humble right now about this. My money's being affected, so excuse me about being in my darn gone feelings. But a girl's been in this house for up 10 weeks. Up 10 weeks. I done lost count. I done detoxed off of soda. I ain't had a drink of soda in a week. And I'm motherfucking irritated. So, and then it's like my money is being affected. I don't qualify for unemployment. My $1,200 is not going to last me indefinitely. So what are we about to do? Because I know damn well you're going to come up with an excuse on May 6th. And once again, here comes a trend giving us a 2-day notice. Because once again, you haven't tested but 10% of the darn on population. So naturally, by the time you even have more tests readily available, there's automatically going to be a spike in positive cases because a lot of people are asymptomatic. So that's what they're not even discussing. A lot of us are COVID positive, but do not have any symptoms. But because we have COVID, that goes into, into the increased numbers and thus allowing for them to keep us close. So when they have all these tests and all these asymptomatic people get darn on tested positive, that's going to be the excuse to keep us on another darn on lockdown. So come May 29th, when they darn gonna get ready to see if they can open us up for June, they're going to say, oh, well, we're going to give you another couple more weeks. And next thing you know, hell, we done looked into the fire, and then now the shit gonna come back up again because as soon as they talk about dipping down in the summer, they talking about it's gonna be another trajectory like the flu. But the difference between the flu and the coronavirus is y'all simply don't have a vaccine for it. And realistically, I done told y'all ain't gonna have one for 5 to 6 years. So is this gonna be our darn on new normal for 5 to 6 years? I don't think so. I'm telling you, y'all fixing to have a riot on y'all hands if you think y'all gonna be able to keep darn on stringing us along and keep saying a couple weeks. Like, you gonna eventually have to tell us one or two things. Either you're gonna let us darn on back out, or you're gonna tell us, well, this is gonna be your new normal for now on, because y'all ain't gonna have a decent vaccine for 5 years. Hell, they talking about something in 2021 at the earliest. And I told you, even if they come out with a cure, the reason why it takes so long is because they got to dilute it for it to be a treatment, because they ain't going to never darn gonna make a cure for anything. If that was the case, I done told y'all in the last video, they were darn gonna push Dr. Nadia Nicole Green with the cancer treatment. Notice that she ain't still got no funding in the midst of all this. Doctors who have shown to got rid of darn on HIV and darn on people, they still ain't got. Now, even with the midst of this COVID crisis, honey, they gonna still darn gonna string this darn on out. And they okay with it because, hell, as governors, they automatically get their paycheck through the people every single month. Every single month. Just printing off money. And then some of y'all beauticians who are okay with this shit, I bet you is okay if you work, and no shit, and if my girl pals and stuff watching me, this is no direct shots towards y'all in a malicious manner. But if y'all working for like Massage Envy, you working for Hand and Stone, and they done got you a nice darn on pay package set up, must be nice. But for us to actually have to darn on go do mobile services, or have our own standalone brick and mortars, we don't have it like that. We don't have a multi-million-dollar darn on massage therapy or aesthetic franchise giving us a pay to sit home. So it's nice for y'all to try to complain about us darn on wanting to get back to work when you sitting at home getting a guaranteed $3,000 approximately a month on a retainer pay to sit at the house. But I'm not getting $3,000. I got $1,200 one time. I didn't get the darn on unemployment, so I didn't get to collect $3,600 a month in unemployment. I got zero. And then I go to get some, and then now I got food stamps. Y'all gonna come, the Republicans, y'all gonna complain about that? Because where's my darn on people who like to say, oh, there you go, mooching out the system, you got the food stamps, this, that, and the third. But honey, when they're gonna let a girl go back? Because the thing is, y'all always tell people, oh, get your own, get back. But now they don't force me out of my darn on jobs. So to all the Republicans out there that was against food stamps, I want to know where y'all at now on this food stamps issue. But even that ain't paying the bills. That help out with food expenses. But what is what's going to pay the bills? If y'all talking about upwards of May 29th before y'all even look into beauticians being able to really open up fully. Now here's my thing on this. Now y'all got the president stuff talking about how UV rays and shit can kill the virus, and how it survives on dry conditions and all that for an extended period of time. And y'all mentioned all the things of how the virus is killed within a certain period of time that would justify opening up the spas quicker. So I'm wondering, for people like me who takes in one client at a time only, and I'm not surrounded, by hundreds of people, what about the ones who are in my situation? Like, could we open back up on May the 8th? It's like, if you're allowing gatherings of 10 of even 10 people, hell, that's going to still keep the possibility of the COVID spreading from person to person. If you talking about, on May 8th, we can darn on have people in the parks upwards of 10 people and shit. But people who work in spas and massage therapies remotely, who only work on one client at a time, we can't work, but people can be around other people as long as it's 10 people. How does that make sense? And then you expect for it to be a decrease when, number one, this virus they said that can live up into the human body for 37 days. And then even if people eradicate the virus out their body the first time, they saying once again the shit acts like the flu, so a person can become reinfected with the virus. So once again, you talking about the trajectory of the virus declining is very skewed, because the only reason why it's declining is because all of us is in the house. And so you expect us to be in the house indefinitely to kill this virus? That's not how it works, because soon as you reopen the government, there's bound to be some form of travel. And as soon as somebody go from North Carolina to South Carolina, vice versa, Georgia or Tennessee or whatever, and come back, it just spreads back again. Even if you manage to cure every single person in North Carolina, it will only take one person to travel out the state and then get to with somebody that's asymptomatic, come back in, and then the spread starts all over again. Even though the person ain't, having no symptoms or dying or anything, you're going to close everything back down. And I ain't trying to sound insensitive to it, because like I said, I'm in the affected group. But does that mean we have to, completely shut everything down? Because even people who are somewhat compromised, if you're practicing the right things about keeping your immune system up, I done showed y'all in the last video about, the water and stuff that I take. I done detox myself off of soda. I've been off soda for a week. I've been drinking nothing but sparkling waters and regular water. I'm gonna start back on my tea and start getting my collagen in. I got my Boathouse Farm smoothies. I also showed y'all about Total Life Changes. Now, I'm not a part of Total Life Changes, but the products actually look to be good. Keep your immune system up. They said that the virus can't survive in the saliva like that. Keep your mouth wet with saliva only. This ain't Naughty Talk. My Naughty Talk videos is over on the personal channel. If you watching me on the personal channel, we've already done somewhat of a Naughty Talk for this past week, honey, with darn on Safari and them. But yeah, I digress. But moving back on to the regular subject though. Like I said, if this is going to remain for the foreseeable future, we just got to embrace this, and our bodies have to develop its own immunity system to it. And for people making the excuse about all the people who died of the COVID flu, even those are skewed results. Because number one, in 1918, during the time of Jim Crow, I hope y'all didn't hear that darn on disrespectful darn on motorcycle pass down here. But anyways, in 1918, I hate to bring race into it, but I have to be factual. When they darn on talked about all the people who died of the of the avian flu, the bird flu, they did not factor in people that look like me. They did not even factor in some Hispanic folks. They did not factor in indigenous folks like that. They only factored in the white community for the most part. And I'm not saying that in regards to this that because we're seeing that obviously black people are not immune to this. But what I'm saying is, in regards to the ones who have been practicing holistically, which is mostly black people do, who have been practicing proper hygiene, not following darn on Dr. Yeah, I got to bring Dr. darn on Dre up in this. I appreciate her commentary on certain other things. But they done told you that the virus can live on dry darn on surfaces for a long period. And that includes your dry legs. So, and darn on odors. And, it's like, this is not the time to be talking about not washing your legs. And for people sitting in the... I'm going to go on a tangent real quick. You have all the time to sit in the house now. That we on a shortage of everything but soap. We on a shortage of hand sanitizer, shortage of disinfectant sprays. I have not seen a disinfectant spray in over a month. Toilet paper low in areas, but one thing that ain't never been out is soap. So why is people sitting in their own house? I understand you sitting in the house, but does that mean we got to be, people talking about they ain't bathed in a week, and I'm talking about even multi-millionaire celebrities, and they cutting jokes and shit. Now I'm looking at Ellen DeGeneres. She talking about, she in there that multi-million-dollar house with her wife, and she feels confined. Must be nice to be confined in a $20,000 darn on mansion with chefs and butlers, and you can have your food delivered to you. You ain't having to worry about no darn on expenses or anything. You confined in 20,000 square feet of darn on property. But then you talking about you wear the same clothes for 7 days straight. And the way she phrased that, it's not like with me when y'all see me wear the same thing, but it's like yeah, you might see me wear the same thing a couple days in a row, but best believe my washing machine is still, honey, the lights are still on. So it's like, honey, I put my stuff in the washing machine when the cameras go off. But the way she phrased that and the way she looking, it's like, so we ain't jumping in the shower after you do your talk. You on national syndicated television. You are one of the highest paid darn on talk show hosts, and we can't jump in that darn on shower that's probably bigger than my bedroom. You telling me you don't know how to put your clothes in the line? So you not only wearing the same shirt, but it ain't been washed in between. But back to the main subject at hand. For us darn gone poor people, people who are not making darn gone $70 million a year like darn gone Ellen DeGeneres, we need to get back to work. So we need to speed up these protocols, especially in regards to beauticians, especially since in our field we would be more prone to the stuff that would kill the virus. Y'all saying that alcohol, isopropyl alcohol, kills the virus within 5 seconds. Barbicide, I would imagine, kills itself quicker. So you can't even say that, we would be prone to infecting people, because if we wearing the mask, if we as estheticians, now it might be a little bit different for massage therapists, because massage therapists, y'all are all up on clients. Y'all literally on the table and y'all rubbing the clients down. I don't do all that. I'm not dual licensed as an esthetician. But I'm not dual licensed as a massage therapist. But as an esthetician, it's like if we wearing a mask, and then wax. If you use a natural wax, number one, the virus cannot be in a crystallized solution like sugar or salt anyways. So it's like the virus cannot even live within the salt. I'm a holistic darn on institution, so I'm also using oils like darn on coconut oil and stuff, which has natural antimicrobial properties. Shea butter, same thing. In addition to, we're not double dipping. So it's not a cross-contamination even when I'm using, plastic-based wax. The pectin, I think it's pectin wax or whatever. When I use my hard wax, it's still not cross-contamination, because I use one side of the wax stick, flip it over, put the paper towel over it, use the second end of the wax stick, and then throw the wax stick away. We ain't, quadruple dipping. The only exception is when I'm at the end of the wax, and I know I'm going to use that wax only on that one client. You cannot cross-contaminate on the same client. It's only cross-contamination when you still have wax in that same wax container and you go from one client to the next client. That's where the cross-contamination come in. So if you ever see me double dip, it's only in those circumstances where the wax is low and I know I'm going to use all that wax on that same client, so to prevent cross-contamination. And all of this we learn in beauty school. Well, no, that you don't learn those extra tricks in beauty school, but you learn the basics of avoiding cross-contamination. And common sense, after you leave beauty school, you learn tricks like that of how to stretch your products, how to stretch your wax sticks while still following your your cosmetic art board. You can use the same wax stick twice as long as it's not on the same end. Little tricks like that you'll learn with time. So we already know how to avoid viruses and shit. Hell, we work in the midst of the flu season, and then this darn on COVID is pretty much a strand of the flu. The only difference, and it kills about the same amount of people. People are I hate to sound insensitive to the number of deaths, but if you compare the number of COVID deaths to the common flu, is actually the same amount. And we actually have a vaccine for the common flu. So what is that going to say with the COVID? The COVID is like, ironically, we're doing quite well under the circumstances, because hell, for us to not have died at more numbers and we don't even have a virus for this actually shows how we might be able to fight this off. Because if people are only becoming asymptomatic at best or coming down with a mild flu in worst case scenarios, except for people who are compromised, we should just advise people who are in compromised positions not to visit certain areas such as spas and whatnot. That's where it should be. But we shouldn't be punishing the rest of everybody for the people who are compromised. I understand social distancing and stuff, but maybe we should take this from a different approach and saying, hey, we cannot just keep everybody in this situation of economic peril for an indefinite period of time because of 2% of the population that are immune compromised and are elderly. It would be more efficient to keep them, advise them to keep themselves isolated as opposed to isolate. Because what is happening is we're pretty much being confined as an isolation tactic for the 98%. And the reason why a lot of Congress is on board with this is because a lot of their asses are old and decrepit. Hell, look at the people making the decisions. All of their asses about 70 damn years old. The reason why y'all so scared of this shit because all y'all in the damn affected group. About time for y'all to go sit. Y'all been in office 40 some years, Ricky. It's about time for y'all to go ahead and sit on home any damn way. Y'all want to keep us confined. Just number one, the skew the voting results to keep some of y'all in there another 4 years or 6 years for senators. Honey, rain, sleet, or snow, I best believe this is going to motivate me to go to the polls even more. I don't give a damn if it's a thunderstorm come November. I will be going to the damn polls. And let me tell my Democrats something. Honey, some of y'all spots are not secure. As an independent that has swing both ways, honey, none of y'all safe this darn on upcoming election. And the sad thing is, the one person who need to be out, it might be safe because of the choice y'all pick. But that's a whole nother video another day when it comes to who I'm voting for, whether it's Biden or Trump. Honey, I done told you I don't see it for neither one of them two hoes. Honey, and Biden is so darn gone. How deplorable Trump is. Biden is strategically more darn gone work. He's smarter with his corruption, and I'm going to leave it at that. But like I said, another video for another day. I'm getting off subject. Back on subject. Like I said, this is our new normal. Why is you want to? It is what it is. It is. You can keep darn on delaying it in there, but I know you don't want to overwhelm the hospitals and all of that. But the facts have shown that most of us are going to be asymptomatic. So why is we being detained? Give them doctors the hazard pay. Honey, fuck darn on potentially giving me another $1,000. Y'all arguing about whether the paycheck should be $2,000 a month or $1,000 a month or $1,200 a month. No. What you need to do is let us work. Advise the people who are compromised to stay home. And now I'm not staying because I got to make money, honey. These food stamps ain't that damn nice, honey. I want to get back to making money. I was on a trajectory to get my darn on house and my car this year, and you done fucked all that shit up. You done fucked it all up. I'm trying to I just got my credit card darn on paid off. I'm trying to get my credit score up, trying to get my trying to get my own darn on place, trying to get my car and shit, and here y'all go throwing a monkey in the ring. Behind something that y'all have already predicted that even with all these precautions, half of the population... See, this is what people aren't understanding. They done already said half of the U.S. population is going to contract the shit. Regardless. So, once again, you're just delaying the inevitable. And just because your ass is more compromised because your ass is 70-some years old and you like to darn on eat Cheetos and shit, doesn't mean you have to darn on affect the livelihood of everybody else. And for y'all that's darn on sitting at home co-signing this shit, I don't give a damn. This is my motherfucking opinion. Because once again, must be nice sitting at home collecting $3,000 in unemployment. Must be nice if you darn on consider your job is paying you. Some of us don't have that leisure, honey. Us self-employed folks, we don't have that. And not all of us is qualified for these PPP loans and small business loans where you have to have a whole darn on paperwork and track kits. Honey, some of us ain't even on payroll. How the hell we supposed to pull up business plan? Now, granted, a girl got a background in marketing, so I can file the paperwork. But not all of us is multifaceted like that. And we supposed to be social distancing, right? This ain't the time for you to now go out and try to find an accountant to darn gonna pull up your whole work history and papers and shit. And darn gonna calculate your darn gonna assets from your liabilities. And see that your net profit is at least 2.5 times what you're trying to apply for in the loan. And then and by the time you get all that, honey, the money's already out. Hell, we done seen accountants. I'm looking at everybody on YouTube from Wealth Hacker and everybody else who actually have a background in accounting. They didn't even get to the loan in time. And these are people who do accounting for a living. Can you imagine somebody who's an accountant darn on didn't get their paperwork filed in time? That's how quick the darn on loans are going. So imagine somebody who don't have no type of business background trying to file for the shit. If darn on certified accountants can't even get the paperwork in time because of how low in funds it is and how quick it's being snatched up, you think us beauticians are going to stand a chance in hell? And then next, you already got the doggone the multi-million-dollar businesses also qualifying for these same loans, and they have personal accounting assistants and stuff to reach and do all the paperwork for them. But for us self-employed folks, we got to search all over and try to pull up form 494 and sign all this and get form such and such and get everything. And we compete with people who have personal assistants and shit that can do this like that. We competing against darn on accountants who do this for a living for clients like that. Like, come on now. We need a damn grant for us beauticians. I want y'all talking about darn on a tax credit for $1,200. Bitch, we need for every beautician in the state of North Carolina, and hell, this could be federal. Other states can adopt this shit too. We need a special grant for the average darn let me go ahead and get my calculator. Let me just go ahead and get my calculator. Oh, I love this phone, honey. This darn on fast charge, it charges up in no time, honey. Nothing like my Samsung Galaxy S40 used to take forever in a day. But the average cosmetologist make $41,000 a year, I think. No, $25,000. Unfortunately, I'm thinking a massage therapist. So $25,000. You divide that by 12. So we've been affected by this shit now going on 2 months, right? No, really? Yeah, March and April. Part of March 20th to April 20th, and y'all talking about going into May 20th. So March, April, yeah, 2 months. So we make cosmetologists make $25,000 a year on average. So that's about $2,083 a month. Times that by 2. Every cosmetologist in the state of North Carolina should get a tax grant for about $4,166. Now, as estheticians, we make upwards about $38,000 a year. Divide that by 12, that's $3,166 times 2. We should get a $6,333 tax credit. Barbers about the same pay rate as cosmetologists. Massage therapists make about $41,000 a year divided by 12, $3,416 a month times 2. Y'all will be making a little bit more than us estheticians at $6,833. And if you are dual licensed esthetician, massage therapist, or cosmetologist esthetician, you will be paid the higher of the two. So that's how I think that should be broken down for us. We should have some special y'all giving doggone airlines that you already bailed out billions of dollars. But with us that have to do your hair and your skin for a living, that up until this point have been deemed essential, because y'all up until this point were kicking people out of schools if their hair was not a certain way, which was completely racist. That's a whole different argument. But even general work requirements across the board, regardless of race, y'all forbid men to have hair above a certain length. Now I'm noticing y'all quite lax on those darn on laws, honey. Now that, people legally cannot get their hair done. Y'all was talking about, hair restrictions and all this. I wonder how that's going to look going forward. Now, I think it should change for. We shouldn't be discriminating about a man with long hair being deemed unprofessional, because it's not. Because if a woman can have long hair, what's the difference with the man having long hair? As long as it's not interfering with the job, I don't see what the problem is. But news anchors, y'all supposed to have their hair styled a certain way. I'm glad they starting to relax on that. In North Carolina, I don't see too much of that. But stewardess are still expected to have their hair above a certain length or pulled up. How's that working now without beauticians? Are we expecting people to start cutting their hair at home? Because, honey, I can guarantee you them layers ain't going to lay right. It's going to be like a staircase. How's that working nowadays? Now, we were all this essential for these types of stuff up until this point. Like I said, they should go ahead and let us, come May 8th, they should let us go ahead and open on back up. For people who are compromised, just advise them to stay home and follow the regular protocols. For us estheticians, we'll have our masks on. We'll start accepting clients just one at a time by pre-book appointments. No longer no walk-ins. We already doing our regular stuff, or at least most of us. Now, for some of the people who were not wearing gloves and shit, this is where you now should be wearing gloves. I don't know what service you should ever be doing where you're not wearing some gloves. I never got that. I see estheticians doing Brazilian waxes and stuff with no gloves. Really? I mean, I can maybe understand a facial without gloves on. I can possibly see that. Especially if you're working with somebody you know. But you doing waxing with no gloves? No. And then hair service. You dealing with chemicals. You actually have bleach on your hands. And bleach is breaking down the cortex of the hair. So imagine what it's doing to your skin, and your skin is sulfur. It's both for your hair and skin is made up of the same components, but your skin is made up of a different type of keratin, which is more supple. That's why it feels a lot softer than your hair. So, and then it's porous. It's going into your bloodstream and everything. So some of us, another video for another day, but most of us actually follow the proper protocols, and for us that do, we should not be punished by the few that don't. Just penalize them with fines. Yeah, keep the darn the state boards still comes out and have to do random inspections. Those people who fail to do minimum stuff that you should have been doing before the virus, because this is the thing, y'all telling us a lot of shit that a lot of us has been doing all along. And y'all acting like shit's new. Oh, make sure, your kitchen sink and stuff is clean. Okay. Make sure you're adding bleach to your dishwater. Honey, black folks been doing that. Black folks been doing that. That's why it ain't as disgusting when you see your darn grandma having a chicken in the darn sink. Some of y'all say that's unsanitary. Honey, that darn best believe the grandma done poured half the thing of bleach in there. Of all things, you could probably eat the damn chicken off the damn out of the sink. How clean the thing is. Now, I personally don't like I don't like bleach. I'm like, Dawn is enough for me, honey. But y'all know, for y'all that has to, that's cooking chicken and shit in the sink, honey. Y'all at least have it bleached down where you ain't having to worry about no coli. But here comes the FDA talking about, oh no, don't cook it, don't wash your meat and all that shit. Now look where we at. Don't wash your legs. Look where we at, honey. It's okay to go a few days without, but look where we at, honey. All because of these. Throw the whole damn corrupted. Throw some of these dermatologists away. Throw the darn these Congress of y'all been in this office for 70 years. And it's like, how long y'all been around? Y'all would have thought y'all would have had a good darn plan for something like this. And y'all don't. And some of y'all been around since the avian flu. Can't tell me a couple motherfuckers up in there ain't at least 105 years old. And then the shortage of masks and stuff. showing our dependency on China. Why Donald Trump, and Republicans, I want y'all to lean in on this one. What happened to all that motherfucking patriotism? What happened to, funding our Americans? What happened to America first? Huh? Why, in the midst of this pandemic, we are not having enough of our own factories produce our masks? So maybe this shows going forward, we might need to give a little bit less grants to them darn on fancy multi-billion-dollar businesses that already have enough money to weather the storm, and factor it into, your healthcare workers. Give them the hazard pay, and also towards healthcare industries in the United States, we might need to start factoring in and pushing our own ventilators, pushing our own masks, so when the next wave of this shit comes along, we ain't in no damn bidding war. You darn on holding darn on shipments from Barbados. Darn on Rihanna, what's your name? Honey, Rihanna darn on used her hard-earned money, her hard-earned working money. $600 million she's worth. She used a little bit of her money to darn on help out her country, only for her darn on shipment to be detained. So y'all legally stealing from darn on hard-working people because of your negligence. You stealing because of your negligence. We supposed to be America first. We supposed to be the leaders of the world and all this shit. But we can't even darn on have enough of an infrastructure to make our own masks, to make our own ventilators, because we so used to the cheaper prices of China. This right here shows how our government is just fucked up across the whole board. It goes beyond just Democrats, Republicans, all y'all fucked up. Because it's revealing how we are so dependent on China. It's showing the hypocrisy of y'all was lying about reparations, we not being able to afford it. But now, in the midst of this crisis, we found $4 trillion in counting out of nowhere. But we can't find $6 trillion, of which $5 trillion, I said, could be proposed over 10 years. Y'all found $4 trillion to push into the economy out the blue within a matter of darn on 2 months. But y'all saying we can't darn on afford to find $5 trillion over a course of 10 years. You see where the hypocrisy is coming in at. You're pushing everybody to be confined in the house for something that 98% of the population is asymptomatic to. Because the difference between the avian flu, since people want to now make comparisons to the avian flu versus doggone COVID-19, the difference is a lot of people that they showed that was affected by the avian flu, it actually was a lot more deadly. It didn't matter your age range or none of that. Versus this acts more similar to the flu. Because once again, you had how many people? I think they said 300,000 people done died alone of the darn flu, and we got a darn serum. I mean, we got a vaccine for that. So while Donald Trump darn talking about could it be possible we can come up with a medical grade disinfectant to inject into the human body? Honey, that still doesn't defeat the purpose, because even if you come out with a vaccine, there's still going to naturally be a death toll anyway. We just got to become more accustomed, and that's the point. A lot of people don't want to become accustomed to this. But this is a sad reality that you have, because once again, the flu kills hundreds of thousands of people per year, even with a darn vaccine that took 18 years to create. So are you telling us that even under these duress of circumstances, if they manage to come out with a vaccine that normally takes 18 years to create, if they make it in 2 years, which is still too long for us to be doggone confined. You want us to be confined 2 years for a vaccine, and then even after the vaccine is administered, you're going to start noticing there's still going to be in the future going on 100,000 plus people dying every year. Honey, that's just natural order. I hate to be crass like that, but it is what it is. And if your genetics are not naturally strong enough to withstand it, that's just how the cookie crumbles. Now, for all y'all Republicans out there that supposed to be, evangelicals voting up for Trump, I would think y'all would say that this is part of God's order. It is what it is. Let God be the decision maker and deem whether you should go ahead and move on to higher pastures, or you can remain right within the promised land of the earth for the time being. And ain't that's what the evangelicals should be saying right about now? So I'm seeing the hypocrisy across the board. I'm seeing hypocrisy from the evangelicals. I'm seeing hypocrisy for the doggone church trying to tell people to give the tithe money to the church. Now, if anybody qualified for a stimulus check, that means you made less than $99,000 a year, which means more likely, since you are out of a job, you need the damn money. So why is your church demanding that you give all of, not 10%? Not 10. Now I can see if they would have at least said 10%, but they said give all the stimulus money to the darn old church, a church that you can't even go to. So you can't even say that for the institution of the church that it's used to uphold the quality of the church, because it ain't nobody in the church to uphold it. You shouldn't really have no high light bill. Ain't nobody in the church absorbing up no air. It ain't no reason to have the lights on. Ain't nobody running no water or nothing up in there. You ain't having to use food expenses. You ain't got no communion because everybody at the damn house. The only thing you have to darn gonna deal with is possible recording costs. And does that warrant you asking for everybody's stimulus check? You see the hypocrisy with the church? Honey, this is revealing everybody's hand. The church ain't gonna look the same when this shit is done. Your darn governors, you ain't gonna look at the same. Your darn president, the thing is with Donald Trump, Donald Trump, we already knew he was a fool. At least he stayed consistent with his shit. But these darn crafty motherfuckers who are a little bit more politically savvy, that knows how to hide their shit, we got to be wary with motherfuckers like this. And we got to darn think about this come darn voting time. Cause honey, I'm going to my motherfucking polls come November. You ain't keeping me in no damn house. And the thing is, the way y'all operating, honey, sadly, Trump might get another 4 years of this. On the doggone, up there talking about, could it be possible we could... Like I said, of all the choices y'all could have put up against him, y'all had Elizabeth Warren. I don't even fuck with Kamala. But hell, Kamala Harris would have been an improvement. And y'all know that's sad. When a fake black bitch could be an improvement. Somebody who's 25% African. Darn talking about she can relate to African American. Girl, but she would have been an improvement. Cory Booker. Y'all know I love my Marion Williamson, honey. Andrew Yang, he was fake. Tulsi Gabbard was decent. Amy Klobuchar was plain Jane, old status quo. But that would have been at least a decent improvement. But Dementia Joe, in the midst of this pandemic, somebody who can't remember what state he's in, somebody... And I ain't talking about just state of mind, but he literally on campaign trail. He could be in Kansas talking about he in Missouri. Can't remember what he said on the debate stage 3 minutes ago. This is who y'all gonna put up against for the election. And then y'all talking about getting rid of him. Here comes the hypocrisy again. Just because Chris Cuomo has been more consistent, is actually more sane in the mind, y'all want to replace him. But what does that say about Bernie Sanders? I don't fuck with Bernie Sanders either. And Bernie Sanders, I still haven't forgot his comments of what he said about black people. But my thing is this. Ain't that a slap in the face to Bernie Sanders to say that he came in second But instead, if y'all feel that Joe Biden is so incompetent that y'all want him replaced, wouldn't the natural right thing to do is to give the candidacy to the runner up? Once again, if y'all saying that Joe Biden can get to the convention to be replaced by somebody who did not even run for president, what does that say about our darn government? That, fuck everybody who actually had to stand on the debate stage and argue their policies. Fuck Elizabeth Warren, Marianne Williamson, Tulsi Gabbard, Mayor Bill de Blasio, and all these other people who was in there. Tom Steyer, Deval Patrick. It was 20-some people that ran. Fuck all them. We just gonna go ahead and get Cuomo up in there because he's saying some what sounds to be nice on TV. He know how to be well spoken. So we're gonna go ahead and potentially replace Biden with darn Cuomo. So what does that say about all the voters who had to give money to help their candidates over the darn course of 10 plus darn Democratic debates? Bernie Sanders made it to 12 debates before they ended the debates, and then it got worse for him and he darn succeeded to darn Biden. So instead of giving it to Bernie Sanders, who I don't agree with no better, but at least he's more sane. He's mentally more sane. His policies not so much, but I digress. But y'all gonna say screw him altogether. Screw the darn Field the Burn game. Let's give it on over to Chris Cuomo. And y'all wonder why we is just over it overall with the Democratic Party. I'm not part of the darn move to the right because it's like, hell, what I'm moving over to something that's just as problematic. Fuck both of them. Hell, darn right side was just justifying darn bringing us back to 1864. Wasn't y'all arguing with old dude, the owner of the Weather Channel, about darn what it means for discrimination? I don't know why I can't think of his name at the moment. But y'all was just trying to bring us back to darn 1864 over on the Republican side. So even though the Democrat side I can see is fucked up, honey, darn Republicans ain't no better. So this really makes you say you should fuck the party over. I don't understand this allegiance. This darn coronavirus has exposed everybody's hand. This should show that everybody should be really considering switching on over to independent. Not for independent people who are voting, because once again, I don't agree with hardly anything the Young Turks say, because once again, I don't believe being subscribed to a party. I believe being subscribed to what is for your own people and what's for you. And that's regardless for who you are, whether you're black, whether you're white, whether you're gay, whether you're straight, whether you're evangelical, whether you atheist. You should not be blindly subscribed to a party, because now you're seeing what the parties are doing. There are good Republicans, but there are a lot of fucked up Republican darn people that represent you. There are quite a good darn decent amount of Democrats, but there is just as many fucked up Democrats that are pushing strings, honey. So this right here shows the hypocrisy with everybody. It shows the hypocrisy of the church, the hypocrisy of our voting process, where somebody who has not participated in the Democratic debates can easily be picked above the person who came in second. So screw Bernie Sanders. This shows so many damn flaws. So we have a lot to think about. And we got plenty of time on our hands since we in this darn house. But to bring it back home to the subject, now I'm going to close this all now. I'm going to say this. Once again, to be back on subject with this virus. Once again, the inevitable is 50% of us is going to get contracted with it. Most of us are going to be asymptomatic. It's time to just, get to the point where we just sadly have to tell compromised people and the elderly to simply stay at home if you can. And everybody else has to resume their life. Because how long is you going to keep printing out money? How long is you going to keep? And because the longer you keep printing out money, it's going to actually show how much more of a hypocrisy it is with us as black people, that y'all keep telling us day by day that we need to find out how reparations can be paid. But y'all ain't telling us the logistics of how we can continue to pay people $1,000 to $2,000 every single, because at least with Andrew Yang had a value added tax and stuff that justified the $1,000 a month. Y'all ain't got no value added tax. This ain't the darn on same thing as, universal basic income. This is just an endless darn on stimulus package that is just keep pushing up the darn on deficit. See, Andrew Yang's proposal, he actually balanced it out. Because at first I judged the fuck out of him. I said, wait a minute, how is this going to work where we don't keep increasing the deficit? He showed how he can support $1,000 per month without increasing the deficit. Y'all are keep proposing y'all coming up with all these acronyms for proposals of $1,000 a month, $2,000 a month, then $1,000 a month for a year. Oh no, $1,500 per Nancy Pelosi's proposal. No, we're gonna do $2,000 for 6 months. Y'all keep throwing out all these numbers, but ain't told us how this is gonna be paid for. So if we don't have to worry about pay for the indefinite of at least a year, and y'all can rack up another $4 trillion in deficit. Once again, what does that say about reparations? During a time where it could definitely be needed, considering how disproportionate that black people have been tested and have been taken care of in comparison to our white counterparts. And then we've been dealing with a mortality crisis even before this darn on COVID. We've already told the stories about how even if you're rich and successful in America, black people are highly more likely to die on the operating table simply because of the standards are treated against what I'm trying to convey. Pretty much the racism in the medical industry, because this institution is founded on racism. So everything that is in America, even though we built up some stuff that is used daily, that is overlooked, that they will still try to steal from us, such as the blood banks and all that. But then when it comes to mortality, y'all somehow cannot treat us equally. And I hate to go there, but once again, it is what it is. We came up with said inventions and shit, from the ultrasound technologies, from the remote controls, to the innovation of the incandescent bulb, which was not Thomas Edison, that was his protege, Lydemus Lattimore. Google search it. Honey, we got a lot of time on our hands since we trapped in this house. So please feel free to fact check a diva, baby. So we come up with all this. And then we were subject to experiments. And then y'all wonder why black people are, even when y'all come up with a vaccine, we got to be worried about what y'all going to put in our damn vaccines. Because we are the ones who are well read, honey. See, it's so easy to darn on say, not to think about this if you're Native American or if you're white. But it's black people who are being subject to Tuskegee, who been subject to the AIDS epidemic. And y'all just try to say, oh, well, black gays are promiscuous and whores, and, black women are fast and loose. But then a white doctor comes out and say, no, we actually purposely ejected Africans over in Africa, and we came over under the guise of missionaries and said that this vaccine was to help you, but meanwhile, it was used for population control. And I know some of y'all are going to say, well, that was so long ago. They ain't doing that today. Oh, well, didn't we just hear Bill Gates speaking the same? Now, Bill Gates, the champion of, vaccines, and is keeping his darn on ass over in Africa. Now, y'all keep telling us to go back to Africa, but I told y'all that's a moot point, because look who meets us right there. Then we take our ass to Africa. Who's over there trying to do population control? So even if we take our ass over to the motherland, if you don't like America so much, why don't you get out of here and take your ass back to Africa? Before y'all say that to me, honey, look what's going on in Africa. Y'all trying to force Africans to learn Mandarin? Y'all darn on France still got colonial rule over the 14 African countries. We got to beg for our artifacts and shit back. Now, our history ain't worth a damn to hear some of y'all tell it. But y'all want to hold on to our darn on artifacts and shit up in darn on France museums and make billions of dollars off of what is ours. But you know, our artifacts and our history ain't worth a damn. But you making billions of dollars off of it. Your country is sustaining off of the 14 darn on countries that you have darn on colonized. For darn on Trump to call it the shithole country, but maybe if he did right by Africa and darn on force France to get the foot off of darn on Africa's darn on west side neck, that they could darn on lift themselves up by the bootstraps, as y'all Republicans would say. Why are we giving so much aid over to Africa? Honey, well, this is why we have to give upwards of $500 billion plus annually over to Africa. No question is asked because of shit like that. Once again, the hypocrisy is being exposed, honey. And a lot of people have time to now Google search all this and fact check it. And once again, bring it back on over to Bill Gates. Over there giving out vaccines. And then we aren't going to hear him on the hot mic talking about now population control. Talking about wild shit. Talking about blocking out the sun. Why are we blocking out the sun? To all my natural, to God's people and stuff out there, is that holy for you to now be trying to control the weather? Now, where's the evangelicals to sign off against this shit? Y'all for proposals of blocking out the sun, controlling the weather, making y'all talking about now making modified meats and shit because of the meat shortages. So now are you messing with God's creation? Once again, my Christian folks over on the Republican side, my religious people who voted over 60% to get Trump in office, where is the pushback with these types of suggestions? Now, I don't know Trump's for all. Now, this is Bill Gates. Now, I don't know what his party politics lie. But once again, this goes to show that the corruption is everywhere. Why is we talking about orchestrating darn on manufactured meat? Why is we talking about blocking out the sun? Why is we talking about and then especially now, because now they say the darn I bet they scratched that plan, because now they talking about the UV rays kills the darn on corona. So honey, now you got to look at darn on Bill Gates with the side eye. See, now, if y'all would have went through with that plan of blocking out the sun, honey, a lot of y'all would have been dead, honey. To hear darn on Bill Gates with his darn on idiotic plans. Y'all like to call out Donald Trump. But once again, the difference with Donald Trump is Donald Trump's vernacular is so poor, it's easier to see his ignorancy. But people who are educated and have a rather broad vernacular and have well speaking skills, they say stuff that is just problematic, actually far worse. And because they butter it up and tailor it in a more palatable way, they are not checked like Donald Trump is checked. Because Joe Biden has done far more worse to black people than Donald Trump ever has. So it's not a surprise when I see people saying they will vote for Donald. Hell, I'm even part of. I'm not necessarily saying I'm pro-Trump, but honey, I damn sure ain't about to darn gonna run to Joe Biden. So I don't even blame the Candace Owens for going towards Donald Trump if you putting up Joe Biden as an alternative. Hell, I don't fault her at all going to talking about a walkaway movement. Now I don't know. Now this is where I get pissed off. You become blindly subscribed to a party that's just as problematic as a whole. Now, if we was just talking about comparing people, if you talking about Donald Trump versus Joe Biden, honey, Donald Trump is still better than Joe Biden. Now, the Republican Party is actually far worse as a collective. That's why I don't understand when black people talk about going from Democrat to Republican. Now, I can see if you talking about going from a particular corrupt Democrat to a Pacific Republican, and you're actually basing it off of that particular person's policies. You're supposed to be judging based off of the people and not blindly voting down ballot. I don't understand why people vote down ballot. You need, this shows you right here during this time, you really need to consider voting based off of interest. And that might, actually it ain't no might, you definitely need to consider voting across party lines, because once again, there are some Republicans and there are some good Democrats. There are some good third parties up in there, and all of them need to darn on replace what we have in there. Not voting blindly by party, because even just as Democrats ain't nothing. Because you see what Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is about. She ain't necessarily where it's at either. So and she comes from that darn party that was made up by the Young Turks organization. And you see when it comes to some of our issues, they turn a blind eye to it and say, "Oh well, Marianne Williamson is okay and all." Demean her. When it comes to certain issues affecting us, honey, they butter it up talking about minority issues, but then when it comes to the black side of the minority, all of a sudden we got to look into it. We got to do an HR 40. But when it comes to everybody else issue, oh, we can pay for it right now, honey. When it comes to America, white people as a whole, 60% of the population, we can print out $4 trillion right now. When it comes to Hispanics detained at the border, oh, the Progressive Party want the darn gonna talk about reparations without a second thought for darn gone people detained at the border. But people who's darn gone went through atrocity here ongoing that are actually native here. And I ain't talking about my Native American, but I'm talking about we as black people. We got to darn gonna wait for a study. But y'all talking about immediate payment for Hispanics? Y'all see how we get annoyed in everything? How we the last to get tested for COVID? How we are being affected the most economically behind this shit? So much to think about, y'all. I mean, I can go all day on this, but I'm going to end it out here. What's y'all thoughts on this? I know we done this video became one thing, and I done gave y'all a little samples of something else. It was much needed. I had to rant and get this off my chest, y'all. This was not even meant to be over a half hour, but I had to go in on my tangent, y'all. So y'all give me y'all thoughts. Like I said, my thing is to get back on subject. They should go ahead and let us operate under safety precautions. Because once again, it don't make no damn sense if you talking about people can any group of people can gather with 10 or less. But then estheticians and massage therapists, who we typically work in a room of one person at a time anyway, y'all talking about we can't work even though our equipment is actually designed to kill the corona. I mean, y'all talking about the UV lights and shit kills the coronavirus, but we put our utensils in a UV darn on cabinet. We put our things in the we either put it in the barber side, which is equivalent to having the same strength as alcohol, kills off any viruses, HIV, or anything within a matter of seconds. Most barbers carry isopropyl alcohol on hand. We utilize light therapy, your LED treatments. So of all things, I would think we would be quite needed during these times. But you talking about opening up darn on parts and shit before us. Ain't that about a bitch? So, but anyways, y'all leave y'all thoughts in on this thing. Leave it down below, like, comment, or dislike, because I know it's gonna be, this video is quite controversial. And if you watched it all the way through, bless your heart, honey, because I know I can be quite long-winded. I try to get straight to the point, but this shit just caused me to go on actually a much needed tangent, honey. So if y'all stay through to the end, honey, thank you so much. Once again, like I said, every opinion is welcome over here. Even if you disagree, I want to know why you disagree with me in the comment section. I ain't, I ain't one to be sensitive or anything. So if you disagree with me, feel free to leave it down and express why. You can even swear in my comment section. Long as you don't say no derogatory words, and I'm not going to block your comment, but Google will automatically delete comments. I'm not a snowflake. Hell, you can cuss me out within reason. Long as you don't drop the F-bomb and the T-word, you don't have to worry about Google deleting your shit for the most part. So go ahead and sound off down below, and I'll see y'all soon with more videos, hopefully on a more light-hearted note.